Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dugout Daily. I'm Charlie, and I'm again joined by Dan. In this one, we're reviewing Saturday's match for Manchester City, which was a 1-0 away win at Elland Road against Leeds United. How are you, Dan, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, Chips.
Good to hear. Great stuff. Of course, big 3 points for City once again on Saturday. It's going to be a long couple of months. The goal scorer was Antoine Semenyo in the second minute of first half added time with the assist by Ryan Aït-Nouri as City escaped with all 3 points and cut Arsenal's lead briefly to 2 points before they beat Chelsea 2-1 on Sunday. And in attendance at Elland Road was 36,838. Before we get going, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell here at Dugout Daily, and follow me on X at MCFC Hibs. We will start with the key talking points then, and there was a key one before the game, as Erling Haaland missed this one as he picked up a minor injury in training. Pep said after the game, it's not a knee issue and he's not sure whether he'll be back for Forest on Wednesday. It's a slight worry, that, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, especially for the way that we play at the minute and rely on Haaland so much to be getting those goals as we have done. And I think Marmoush just is nowhere near that level at the minute. I think his form's completely fell off a cliff. So missing Haaland was definitely a massive thing for us, and hopefully he can be back soonish for Forest.
Yeah.
I think he probably will be. I think Pep might be. You know what he's like with his squads and keeping the media informed and whatnot. So
yeah,
it doesn't sound too bad. In worst case, he'll probably be back for Newcastle on Saturday by the sound of it. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, it was Semenyo's 6th goal for City since his £62.5 million January move from Bournemouth, which proved decisive. It was great build-up play, especially from Shirky to find Aït-Nouri, and then it was a tap-in for Semenyo, weren't it, Dan?
Yeah, I think Cherky was absolutely brilliant, especially in that move. I think Aït-Nouri again. He's really coming into a bit of form now. I think it is the time to be hitting your best form in this running, and City normally do under Pep. So I think there's definitely more to come from this team. But it's good to know that you've got players that are starting to come in and that aren't the Haaland, aren't your Foden, that will come in and start winning your games.
Definitely. It weren't all plain sailing, though, however, for City, as Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a glorious chance in the first 5 minutes. We got away with one there, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's missed, and I really thought after that we'd be in for a really long night. But I think they obviously went at it. Were quite frantic. They were up for it. I think City just approached that game with quite a lot of calmness about them. There was never any rush. There was never any panic really. It was just calm. We've been here before. We've done it type stuff. And that's the sort of games that when you're trying to juggle 4 competitions at once, and with this schedule coming through, you're not going to be you're not going to be battering teams 4 or 5-0 every week. Some of those games, especially at Elland Road with their form there under the lights and stuff, it was never going to be a great watch, but we got the 3 points.
Definitely. Leeds had the better chances, especially in the first half, but couldn't find the breakthrough. Calvert-Lewin had another effort from a tight angle that went wide. I think that was actually quite good defending by Guehi, that one, in terms of the second Calvert-Lewin chance. And would you say City were second best for large periods of this game? Sorry.
I wouldn't say second best. No, I think we were decent. Well, we weren't decent, but I think Leeds definitely didn't exactly batter us. It was a game of we took our chances, they took theirs. They didn't take theirs. So we weren't second best because we were in control really. For the key parts of the game, I think we obviously had a plan. We stuck to it, and we won the game. I didn't really think that bar that Calvert-Lewin chance that Leeds really, troubled Donnarumma.
Yeah, they had a few more half chances. Aronson poked wide from close range, and James Justin had his effort saved by Donnarumma. They were all in the first half as well. And Leeds have now lost their last 6 Premier League games against Manchester City. In the first 40 minutes, City created an XG of nothing, no shots on goal, as Leeds, as the stats would say, they completely dominated the first half. Would you agree with that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, in terms of chances created and whatnot, yeah. I mean, they were obviously really well. They were up for it, as expected that they would be. Yeah. And this is why it's so tough, with them, with the crowd behind them. They went for it, and they showed more energy. Which looked a bit shell shocked at times. But I suppose that's always going to happen when you're at a ground like that. That's not an easy game. And it was a very similar scenario probably to Anfield. These type of games, they're going to come. They're going to be ugly, but if we're showing that we can get 3 points and suffer for a long period, this is definitely a new City team. This is not something that we've really been used to. Under Pep, it's been we batter every team. We'll lose a few, but we'll batter every team every game. Whereas now it's really starting to show that we can suffer. Especially without the ball and not having shots on target, and still win. So we've not seen Pep winning ugly before, and it's definitely a new era in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. But the first half was Leeds domination, but City had four big chances, in this game, and still created 2 XG without our main goal scorer in Haaland. It's good signs, really, attacking wise again, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, I think, Semenyo is absolutely massive for this. I think, as I've said, I mean, in recent weeks, I've been quite critical of Marmoush and his form dipping at the minute. But, to still have Semenyo there, and I think he's shocked quite a few, that he can sort of do that Haaland role in that sense, that he can be that physical target man and not touch the ball often, but still get the odd goal. Which he's showing he can do. He can play out wide, and he's sort of been moved into the centre a bit now. And he really helps, because I think if we were playing Marmoush as that lone 9, I think we'd have struggled big time. But
definitely,
he's just been brilliant so far, Semenyo. He's come in, he's getting those goals, that'll win you these sort of titles, that'll win you.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Yeah, he was massive considering that Haaland was out, and he will be massive moving forward if Haaland is injured for a long term.
Yeah, definitely. With 10 games left, City still have the title in our hands. Of course, that's a big thing, especially with the state of our current squad in terms of rebuild-wise. We're probably halfway through a rebuild this season. Pep said after the game, coming to a raucous Elland Road and winning, this is the type of result that wins titles. It's probably similar to Anfield, like you said a couple of minutes ago, Dan. Would you agree with what Pep said there?
Absolutely. I think, I know that after Anfield, you really looked at the running that we had. And I think for me, Elland Road was definitely the one that was that is a banana skin, or was a banana skin for us. And I think that was the game that worried me slightly, but if we can win that sort of game, in that manner, that is a almost as big as going to a big 6 game, and I think on home form they probably are up there. It was a very nervy performance, obviously, but he's right in what he's saying, Pep. That is a performance that wins you the title. Many teams, and I'm going to put Arsenal in that bracket, that could quite easily have lost there, and probably would have lost there if they were in that scenario. So there's only a certain amount of teams that can go and perform like that at those sort of grounds.
Yeah, Leeds in the home table are 13th, 22 points from 14 games, 6 wins, 4 draws and 4 defeats. It's not exactly the worst record for a team that are only 6 points off the drop, is it, Dan?
No, and I mean, I'd quite like to see that table with the evening kickoffs. I think that was a really interesting start in the
Yeah,
build-up. Obviously they're a totally different team, night and day, literally. Um, So I mean, yeah, it was a game that worried me, and I think was one of the only games that worried me in this running that we've got, and we've got the result, and after Anfield, I think, and this is going forward to the Champions League, I think we could get a result anywhere at any ground.
yeah,
We've shown that the team have got that they can keep calm in these situations, and that's all down to I mean, Anfield is massive, and I think that will be massive going forward in
definitely.
all
Yeah,
competitions.
yeah, 100%. Some information then. Marmoush made his 50th City appearance in this one. Semenyo made his first appearance since injury. The less said about his performance, the better. And Doku was back on the bench. If you look at our bench on Saturday, there was no kids from the academy apart from Rico Lewis, but I'd say he's an established first team member. You had Semenyo, Reinders, and Ake come on with Trafford, Kushinov, Stones, Gonzalez, Foden, and Doc. Sorry, Lewis weren't on the bench. So yeah, it's a strong bench, that, isn't it, Don?
Yeah, and I think that's really starting to show the squad depth that we've had. I think during this season, I think everybody goes on about Arsenal's squad depth and whatnot and this and that, and I think we've really struggled with a lot of injuries so far this season. But I think obviously it's perfect right inside of the running. But it's showing that if players like Rico Lewis can't get onto the bench, which
Yeah,
he normally is, yeah, I think that's a really good sign. That we've got more than the bench in depth. It might be an issue for keeping them happy in the summer, etc. But
yeah,
for if you're going to fight on all four fronts, you're going to need every single player available, and that's pretty much what we've got at the minute.
definitely. We'll look at some standout performers then for City. Ryan Aït-Nouri got a brilliant assist in the first half. You've got Rodri, as Pep said after the game, what a player, said he's coming back to his best. Would you agree with that, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, Rodri in the last few weeks has looked like a totally different player to the one that came back. And I think, I always backed him to come back and be doing this. You've just got to have patience with him. But it's really starting to show that he can be so crucial for us. And I think his experience, along with Bernardo Silva and Co, obviously, are going to be absolutely huge for winning things. They were there when they won the treble, etc. He's won a lot with us. So, yeah, it's brilliant to have him coming back. And he's not quite at his best yet, but,
Yeah.
it's coming. And, he
Yeah.
will be there very soon.
Definitely. As well as Nico O'Reilly had a good chance to score in the first half. Good save by Darlow, I thought. At the time, a bit of a worry he went off injured, but he seems to be okay. We'll see what Pep has to say in his press conference tomorrow, of course. We've got a preview for the Forest game that will be out on Wednesday as well. Our man of the matches then, we'll start with you. You've gone for Ryan Shirky. Sky Sports also gave him man of the match. Why is that?
Yeah, I think his performance was absolutely extraordinary on Saturday. I think, he reminded me quite a lot of David Silva during this run. I mean, he was in there. He was orchestrating every attack pretty much. In that second half, and I mean, you get that calm when he's on the ball that he's just not going to lose it. It's almost like he's glued to him. And there's only a few players that I've ever seen in a City shirt that can do that, with David Silva being one of them. Everything sort of went through him. To an extent, and yeah, he was absolutely brilliant to watch.
Definitely. I've given man of the match to Ruben Diaz. We were under the cosh at times, especially in the second half, and I thought him and Guehi were both brilliant at the back. Guehi has been brilliant since he came in January as well. City Extra also gave Diaz man of the match. We'll have a closer look at Leeds then, and they created 3 big chances, 1.49 XG. Calvert-Lewin couldn't add to his 10 league goals this season. They also had a big chance in the second half from a corner as sub Yaka Biol headed wide late on. as they remain 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Of course, results went their way this weekend. If you have a look at the teams around them, of course, I'd say Wolves are down, but they won. Burnley lost, West Ham lost, Forest lost, Spurs lost, Palace lost, Newcastle lost as well. They're teams from 13th to 19th. They're currently in 15th. I think they'll be okay. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think Leeds. Yeah, Leeds. I think they started this season where they went to a completely different system that got them up there. I think in the Championship last year they were very similar to what they are now physically.
Yeah.
They were very big. They were scoring lots of set piece goals. They were a proper horrible team to play against. And then when they came up, I think they tried to be a bit fancy and start playing out from the back and all that, and it really cost them. But I think, I think they'll be fine now, especially with those home games.
Yeah.
If a team as good as we are, I don't want to be too big-headed, but a team as good as we are can be troubled that much. I think there's many teams in the league that would have, potentially been absolutely battered by Leeds.
Definitely
on Saturday. So I think that they'll be fine, especially even if they just rely on the home fixtures and nick the odd point away. But they're a good enough team.
Yeah, their remaining home games in the league: Sunderland, that's tomorrow night. Well, tonight while this video's out. Brentford, Wolves, Burnley, and Brighton. That should be, I'd expect, at least 9 points out of 12. What do you reckon?
Yeah, really good fixture run for them, and I think that's going to be the fixture run that will probably cement their place in next year's Premier League as well. I think if you have a look around them, as you said, I mean everybody around there just keeps losing, and doesn't look like they're going to start winning anytime soon. And in that fight, I think Burnley and Wolves are down, but I think it'll be a fairly easy run for them. They'll get the points they need, and then they can focus on rebuilding for next year. And I'm quite happy for them to be here because they're one of England's biggest clubs and probably way too big for the Championship. Yeah,
definitely. We'll look at the stats then. Possession 33 to 66 in City's favour, percentage-wise. XG 1.49 to 2 in favour of City. 14 shots each. 2 shots on target to City's 5. Leeds missed all their 3 big chances. City had 4 and missed 3. 229 accurate passes for Leeds, 74%. City with 587, that was 90%. 5 corners to 3 in favour of Leeds, and 10 fouls to 8 in favour of Leeds as well. What do you think them stats tell us, Dan?
Yeah, I think that shows that it was a tough game. I mean, we weren't really dominant at any stage. I think we were really good to keep our cool in that situation. I think Leeds they didn't exactly make anything easy for us, and there were times in that game, as you said before, we were really under the caution, and the defence dug deep. I think Donnarumma came in again, and he had another brilliant performance. Diaz Guehi, I think Aït-Nouri defensively looked solid. It was a brilliant performance from us in that aspect. It really showed that Leeds probably could have got something out of that game. Probably should have.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, then we will look at how both teams started the game and what both of us got in terms of our predicted 11s out of 11. So the Leeds starting 11 was as expected from Sportsmo. They got 11 out of 11 with Darlow in goal, a back 5 of Bogle, Justin, Rodon, Strauch and Goodmanson, with Stack, Ampadu, Gruev and Aronson in midfield, with Calvert-Lewin up top. You said in the preview, Dan, that looks a tough team to play against, and it definitely was, weren't it?
Yeah, I think as I said in the preview, a very physical team. That obviously have not very many attackers in it. You've got a defensive midfielder on the wing, and you've got Ampadu started as centre back at centre mid. They are just a big unit, and they were. I think we were very lucky to get our goal, but I think we played the game quite well, and in the way we had approached it, we were very calm about their situation. They were obviously going to come in and try and press us and whatnot and get in our faces in that first hour. So us keeping the ball, etc. It helped us, just bring a bit of calm to the situation. Because games where Leeds have done very well against Big Six, they've been been physically bigger and better than the other team, and they've been. They've got the crowd on the side, and teams have lost their heads. So it was a pretty much as expected, their performance. I thought, maybe if we'd have got that goal when we did, I thought potentially we could push on and get a few more. But it was about as expected.
Yeah, definitely. And City's team was Donnarumma in goal, a back four of Nunes, Diaz, Guehi, and Nori, with Silva, Rodri, and O'Reilly in midfield, Semenyo, Marmoush, and Shirky as the front three. Dan, you got 10 out of 11, only missing Haaland, of course, who ended up being injured, so very unlucky there. I got 9 out of 11. I said Foden instead of Shirky, as well as Haaland in my team as well. What was your thoughts on our 11 when it was released?
Yeah, obviously with the news coming out just a few hours before it was released, with Haaland being injured, that was probably our best 11. I'm in my opinion on form at the minute, which is probably what you've got to go for in these run-ins. Players who are on form. That's where obviously Marmoush isn't, but what else can you do with no other striker? I think that was a solid team, got the job done. Obviously, that's to say, a similar sort of team. They're playing at Anfield as well. So, obviously, it's showing here, which is brilliant, that they can go to hostile places and win, which, we've not exactly seen City win, dirty. It wasn't a fancy win.
No.
It's the first time that I can really remember saying that City have won ugly in a way. We were good in that sense. There's so many things that could improve, but we've got so many more games to play this season that we've definitely got a few more gears to go up if needed.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, our team's settled, and it's been fairly settled for the whole season. For quite a while at the start of the season, we had a settled back five of Donnarumma, Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol, and O'Reilly. Of course, the Gvardiol injury meant Guehi came in. Nori's been playing well recently. O'Reilly has been one of our best players of the season. He's probably my player of the season so far in left back and midfield. And other than that, it's been fairly settled throughout the whole season, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a really good sign as well. The last thing that we needed to do really in a title running would be to mismatch and constantly be changing. Which would have cost us. At least we now have a sort of pecking order established. I think the only real changes that have happened is obviously Guehi's come in and it looks like he's been playing for us for years. And obviously Nori has sort of forced himself in, and fair play to him. He came in, he had not the greatest at starts, with his injury and whatnot. Which must have been tough for him. But he's really fought through, and he's been one of our best players recently. Yeah,
definitely. And some player quotes, starting with Nori, as we've just been speaking about. He said, "We'll keep going until the end, preparing training for these kind of games." And Antoine Semenyo said, "It means everything. We just want to win all our games. Whatever Arsenal do, we'll wait and see." Pep Guardiola said after the game, "We defended really well. We talked about suffering and we did it." Do you agree with that, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a brilliant thing that I've seen City do. That we've never really done before, and it is a massive thing. I'm not even going to say Premier League. This is a bigger thing for the Champions League, as Pep's just mentioned, is the fact that we can suffer now. I mean, I'll go back even to last year's winners. You look at times PSG really had to suffer in those big games.
Yeah.
So, it's a brilliant thing to have going into the latter stage of the season. This is a perfect scenario for us. We've got a lot of games coming up, but we've got a settled starting 11. And, we've got an established sort of, roles and whatnot, and we're showing that we can go and win games ugly. And, that's a massive thing now. And I think we'll obviously give players confidence. It's also good to see some of the new boys come in and speak. I mean, Semenyo's always spoke quite well on the title race as well.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing for him, but I think having Pep as the manager will be a huge thing for the new lads coming in. And it's obviously helped Guehi, Semenyo, etc. settle into the very tough conditions of the title race. Mentally, I can't imagine coming from Bournemouth playing in front of 5 people every week, so then all of a sudden be demanded to be playing Real Madrid away on a Wednesday and win, and then come to a place like Elland Road against teams like that and still win. I think, it's going to be massive for the next few weeks.
Definitely. Well, that's it for this game then. We'll briefly look forward to our games midweek. Of course, a midweek round of fixtures in the Premier League. Starting with City on Wednesday night, it should be 3 points against Nottingham Forest at home, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be an easy enough game. I think Forest are on terrible form. I mean, this is going to be obviously come back and bite us here, how it can do. But I think we obviously can't rock up and expect the 3 points, because that's what teams that bottle it do. If we should be able to beat them easily enough. They're on horrible form. The manager situation's been all over the place. Expected to win.
Definitely. Before we look at Leeds' game against Sunderland on Tuesday night, we'll look at Forest Premier League form. They've won 2 games in 2026. It makes horrible reading, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, they're up there with probably the worst form up there. I think it's them and Spurs that are the worst 2 teams in the league, which absolutely screams that they're going to get a point at City. But it should be, judging the scenario, it should be a statement win if we wanted to go for it. I can't see it, because I think I can see us getting a few goals up and then resting, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
but we're more than capable of putting a fair few past them on Wednesday.
Yeah, 100%. And Leeds are at home to Sunderland on Tuesday night. I can see them winning that game, to be honest. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it'd be a really interesting game to watch, that, actually. Obviously 2 form teams, 2 teams that have come up and really, surprised people in a way.
Yeah.
Especially Sunderland. I can see Leeds being quite positive coming from that. Maybe that head loss at the end from Daniel Farke and the team, may cost them.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Sunderland are no mugs at all. So I could probably see a draw in that game. Maybe a Sunderland win.
Yeah, Sunderland have definitely tailed off recently, though, in the Premier League. They're definitely safe, but they've won 3 games in the league since the Tyne-Wear derby in the middle of December. Again, don't make great reading, does it?
No, but I think they're a strange team, Sunderland, and I can just see that. Obviously, Daniel Farke won't be on the touchline. It'd be a really interesting game, but I could probably see a draw coming out of that. Yeah,
I can see that as well. To be fair, I think Leeds would take that as well. I think that would practically secure their status in the Premier League for another year. That is it for this video then. We will be back on Wednesday morning for a Nottingham Forest preview. Of course, this is a double upload day as well. We've got our Champions League round of 16 draw reaction coming out this evening if you're watching this on Tuesday morning as well. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. hit the notification bell as well. And we will see you again for our draw reaction and Forest at home. Cheers, guys, and come on, City.